everyone. We're diving into some really powerful stuff today,
Yeah.
all about helping students who have dealt with trauma,
Mm.
violence, really tough experiences.
Right.
And, you've all sent in some amazing resources that we're going to unpack.
Hmm.
But our mission today is to kind of shift gears a bit, right? We want to move away from focusing on what these students might be missing and instead really shine a light on the strengths they already have.
I love that. That's so important.
Yeah, it's huge. And the numbers really back this up too. Think about it. Half of all students in the US, half, they've experienced or are going through these kinds of intense challenges.
Wow, half.
Half.
Right.
Recent data shows that, and it's like, whoa, we really got to get this right.
Absolutely. And just to make sure we're all starting from the same place,
Right.
having to define some of these terms, right? Like, what exactly are we talking about when we say trauma? So from the work of Susan Craig and Hirokazu Yoshikawa,
Mm-hmm.
trauma is basically a response to a super stressful experience.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And then there's violence, right? Which involves actual acts of harm and aggression.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then we have chronic stress, which is that ongoing, persistent kind of adversity.
Right, the everyday stuff that just builds up.
Exactly. And it can really wear a kid down over time.
Yeah.
So having a clear understanding of these definitions really helps us as we go deeper.
Totally. Now, one of the things that really jumped out at me from one of the sources was this idea of like actively seeking out the strengths that are often hidden, right? They talked about students and families inspiring them to kind of look beneath the surface.
Yeah, I love that.
It's powerful, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to get caught up in the challenges.
Absolutely.
So the big idea here is instead of just focusing on the problems, we flip the script. We find those existing talents and abilities and we nurture them. And it's not just about helping them cope, it's about building them up into these like confident, resilient learners.
Right. And it's not just wishful thinking,
Mhm.
It's backed by a lot of research.
Right.
So think about positive psychology, which really emphasizes well-being and human strength.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's positive youth development
Mm-hmm.
that focuses on really nurturing those assets that young people already have within them.
Right.
And we can't forget neuroplasticity, the brain's amazing ability to adapt and grow.
Yeah, that's a game changer.
Right. And then the whole concept of a growth mindset, like
Yeah.
understanding that abilities aren't fixed. They can be developed through effort and hard work.
Absolutely. So all of this science is basically saying, hey, there's immense potential within every student.
Exactly.
And at the heart of it all, it's about those positive relationships, those positive interactions in our teaching.
For sure.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting for me. I was reading one of the sources, and they pointed out that a lot of teachers say they don't actually have much formal training when it comes to supporting students who are going through trauma, violence, chronic stress.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's kind of like learn as you go, right? Trial and error. Picking things up from support staff, from child study, team meetings,
Mm-hmm.
or just, chatting with colleagues. And it's like, that seems like a pretty big gap in professional development, right?
It really is.
Like, how do we bridge that?
Yeah, and that really highlights why it's so important to shift our whole approach, our fundamental perspective.
Okay, yeah.
So one of your sources, it really emphasized this key principle.
Yeah.
Every student, every family, they bring something to the table. Skills, resources, like that idea of funds of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Moll and his colleagues, they did this research on the U.S.-Mexico border.
Mm-hmm.
And they found that even families with limited formal education had so much knowledge about their work, their home life, their well-being,
Right.
and they were actively passing it on to their kids.
Yeah.
So for you, the takeaway is don't underestimate what students and families already know.
Yep.
Their experiences are valuable knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Recognizing these strengths, it's absolutely crucial for creating a positive, enriching school experience.
So it's about seeing the whole student, right? Not just the challenges. And I really liked how one of the sources used this visual, figure 1.1, they called it circles of interactions. Could you kind of walk us through that conceptually?
Absolutely. So picture this. It's like these expanding circles.
Okay.
And each one represents a different level of influence on a child's development.
Mm.
So at the center, you have the child, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the next circle is their immediate caregivers, then their wider family, then the family's community, the school community, and so on.
Oh, I see. So it gets wider and wider.
Exactly. And a child typically develops through these consistent, predictable, nurturing interactions within these widening circles, right?
Right.
But then when violence or trauma or chronic stress happens, it could disrupt this healthy development. But here's the thing. The impact isn't the same for every child, right? It varies based on their age, their cultural background, their previous experiences.
Yeah, so many factors.
Right. And any pre-existing conditions they might have. But what's super important to remember is the power of two things. The inherent strengths that students already have
Hmm.
and the external support they get from people they trust and care about.
Oh, okay, yeah.
These positive interactions can really act as a buffer against adversity.
Like a safety net almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and to really illustrate this, one of the sources tells the story of David Martinez. Could you share a bit about his situation?
Sure. So David was actually born in the U.S.,
Okay.
but his parents and his older brother, they're undocumented.
Oh, wow.
So the whole family lives with this constant fear of deportation.
That's so stressful.
And they also live in extreme poverty. They move a lot. And they don't really have access to a lot of the typical support systems that many families rely on.
So you might assume that he's lacking strong social connections.
Right, but that's not the case at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he actually has a lot of meaningful and consistent interactions within his community.
Interesting.
One prime example is their weekly trips to the laundromat.
Oh, the laundromat.
Yeah, for David, it's not just about doing laundry. It's like a ritual. It's his favorite place to be.
Wow.
He and his family, they have these lively conversations there, and they've built relationships with other kids and adults at the laundromat.
So it's like a community hub in a way.
Exactly. And this really points to the strength of collectivist cultures.
Okay, so instead of just focusing on individual needs, it's about the group, those community bonds.
Yeah, exactly. And there's research that highlights this difference, right? Like mainstream culture often emphasizes individualism and competition,
Yeah,
but many minority cultures really value collectivism and relationships.
that makes sense.
And David's family, they use the laundromat as a really important space to nurture those values and to get support from other families who are going through similar things.
Yeah, that's powerful. And it's not just social connections. So David, he's fluent in both Spanish and English.
Oh, wow, bilingual.
Yeah, and he often acts as an interpreter for his parents, like when they're dealing with landlords or other systems.
That's a lot of responsibility for a kid.
Right. But it means he's developing some pretty advanced personal, world, cultural, and literacy knowledge.
Yeah, those are skills.
Exactly. And ideally, schools would recognize and value these kinds of diverse background experiences.
Yeah, see them as assets.
Right.
Which brings us back to the strengths that David has.
Exactly.
He has this loving family that really prioritizes education. He's got strong social skills, networking skills from his culture. And one of the sources talks about how learning is basically this combination of cognitive understanding,
Right.
the subject matter,
Mhm.
and social interaction. So David's really good at collaborating, working in groups.
Right.
And that comes directly from his experiences in a collectivist culture.
So we're starting to see how shifting our perspective can really uncover these strengths that might be overlooked.
Yeah, and that takes us to this idea of reframing, right?
Deframing.
Like moving away from that deficit mindset and towards one of abundance.
Okay, so how does that play out in our day-to-day interactions with students?
Well, a strengths-based approach, it means actively looking for what's right. One of the sources said that.
I like that.
Seeing possibilities instead of just limitations.
Yeah.
And it requires us to be honest with ourselves about our own biases.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah.
where are our own perspectives getting in the way of seeing a student's assets?
We all have blind spots,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And it's our moral responsibility to recognize that.
That's a good point.
One powerful way to start reframing is through reflection. You know, your sources, they suggest some activities that encourage us to identify our own values, our strengths, even when we're faced with challenging situations.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's this example of a teacher, Laura Reynolds. She felt really frustrated by student absences.
Right.
But when she took the time to reflect, she realized her underlying values were things like caring, commitment, sensitivity, responsibility, passion, and sacrifice.
Wow. So she was coming from a good place, but it was getting overshadowed.
Exactly. And the takeaway here is that by understanding our own values, we can start to recognize those same values in others.
That makes a lot of sense.
And another important concept is inner wealth, as Grove and Glasser put it.
Inner wealth. Okay.
Yeah, it's about proactively understanding our own strengths, acknowledging them, and drawing upon them to make positive choices.
Okay.
And visually, one of the figures in your sources contrasts deficit-based thinking, which is like a closed system,
Oh, right. Very limited.
with asset-based thinking, which is open, full of
Just
potential.
like a mindset shift, right?
Exactly. Choosing to see that open system.
So consciously choosing to see potential in every situation
Yeah.
and then figuring out how to cultivate that potential. So how do we actually identify these strengths in our students? What are some concrete strategies?
Well, a really fundamental element is unconditional acceptance,
Right.
letting students know they belong, that they're emotionally safe.
Yeah, feeling accepted for who they are.
Exactly. And Kelly Brown, she makes a great point. Every student comes to us with assets, even if some are harder to see than others.
That's true.
The teacher's job is to uncover those assets.
So it's like detective work almost.
In a way, yeah. And Michael Silverstone, he emphasizes how important it is to communicate a student's inherent value.
Like just as a human being.
Right, making them feel like their thoughts, their opinions, their feelings, their very being matters.
So powerful.
And there's a story that Marvin Quinones shares about Elias Santiago.
Okay.
So Elias, his outward behavior often led to problems, but Marvin intentionally looked beyond that and saw his empathy, his strong moral compass, his respectfulness, his aspirations. He was hungry for knowledge.
So much more than just his behavior.
Right. But tragically, Elias's life was cut short. It's a stark reminder of why we need this asset-based perspective.
Yeah, every student has so much potential.
And we need to pay attention to the small behaviors that lead to positive outcomes. Grove and Glasser, they talk about looking for evidence of inner wealth.
Inner wealth.
So even something as simple as a student taking out their notebook,
Yeah, it seems small.
it could indicate attentiveness, responsibility, connection, interest. It's what Glasser calls creating miracles from molecules,
Oh, I like that.
recognizing and reflecting back those positive actions.
So they can build their own sense of inner wealth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's this example of Michael, a 7th grader in foster care.
Okay.
His teacher noticed and acknowledged his cooperation, his conscientiousness, his commitment, his respect when he joined a math group promptly.
Wow. Seeing those small wins.
Right. And even student responses to things like, I wish my teacher knew that, can reveal underlying values.
Even if the statement itself is negative.
Right. Like maybe they're saying, I wish my teacher knew I had to work late and couldn't finish my homework.
Oh, yeah. Showing responsibility.
Exactly. Responsibility, honesty, integrity, valuing education. And Keith Milletta, he has this great first day of class activity.
Oh, tell me about that.
He uses index cards to learn about students' interests, the important people in their lives, their goals, and also asks for self-ratings on things like communication and getting along with others.
Oh, I love that.
It's a great way to start building relationships and spotting strengths right away.
Absolutely. So once we start seeing these strengths, how do we create a classroom that really nurtures them?
Your sources emphasize 4 key things for an asset-based classroom: belonging, competence, feeling valued, and feeling safe.
Makes sense.
And that starts with the physical environment.
Oh, right. The space itself.
Yeah, things like flexible seating, making sure lesson details are easy to find, creating a comfortable atmosphere.
Yeah, that foundation.
But it goes deeper than that. We need to constantly be gathering information about each student's strengths and using that to personalize our interactions.
Okay. Yeah.
Like he gave an example of acknowledging a student's after-school job
Right.
or their achievements in sports.
Showing you see them as a whole person?
Exactly. And it's also about reframing what we might see as negative behaviors.
Oh, interesting.
So there's this example of Javier getting out of his seat.
Okay.
And instead of just seeing it as disruptive, Chris Homiak thought, maybe he needs to move. Maybe it's actually self-regulation.
Oh, a different way to look at it.
And by acknowledging that to Javier, it validated his self-awareness.
Interesting.
And then Chris went further. He pointed out Javier's strengths in abstract thinking and algebra
Oh, wow. Building him up.
and positioned him as a leader in those areas.
That's amazing.
And Tina Kern, she had a new student who was brave enough to speak English in front of the class for the first time.
Oh, that's a big step.
Right. And Tina acknowledged her courage, and the whole class applauded.
Oh, I love that.
It's so powerful to see those positive reinforcements.
Yeah, and even the language we use when talking about students with our colleagues can make a difference.
Oh, absolutely.
But there's a huge difference between saying Lizette, the difficult student,
Right.
and Lizette, the student I love to teach.
It changes everything.
Yeah, focusing on those positive qualities like resilience, responsibility, curiosity, knowledge, enthusiasm.
Exactly. And Larry Filazzo, he gave an example of working with refugee students from Central America.
Okay.
And he showed how connecting learning to their lived experiences, even talking about trauma with their permission, can create a much more connected and engaged classroom.
Yeah, making it real for them.
Right. And it's also about choosing literature that features characters overcoming challenges and relying on those supportive relationships.
Yeah, seeing themselves reflected.
Exactly. Kathy Lobo, she uses the book Tornado for that.
Oh, interesting.
And even little things like starting the day or class with welcoming routines, sharing a brief schedule overview, engaging in a short learning activity.
Yeah, that consistency can be so grounding.
All of these things come together to create what one of your sources calls a strengths-based learning environment.
So it's like a holistic approach.
Right. It's the physical space, the relationships, the engagement, the routines.
Okay. And your sources also give some great examples of how to put these principles into practice.
Yeah, like Mark Zimmerman's lesson plan.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
So he did this lesson on odd and even numbers,
Okay.
but he connected it to real-world social dynamics at recess,
Yeah.
which was really cool.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and he intentionally built in routines, explicit instruction, opportunities for paired and small group work, even a connection to home.
So hitting all those different learning styles.
And his lesson sequence had a clear structure, which is really helpful for students.
Right, that predictability.
And he also used the gradual release of responsibility model really effectively.
Oh, right. I do it, we do it, you do it together, you do it alone.
Exactly. Moving from teacher modeling to collaborative practice to students working together and finally independent work.
And he still gave them some choices within that framework.
Exactly, which is important. And Jennifer Lee, she did a lesson on family heritage, another great example of gradual release.
Mm-hmm.
And she adapted it to be inclusive of all students, including those who might have experienced loss.
Oh, that's so important.
And she really focused on encouraging their voices and participation.
Yeah, so it's about structure and support, but also empowerment.
Absolutely.
Now, what about the interactions between students? How can we help them build those relationships in a way that's strengths-based?
Well, the physical space plays a role here too.
Oh, right, like how the desks are arranged.
Yeah, having flexible arrangements, letting students display their work, it creates a sense of shared ownership and collaboration.
It's their space.
Right. And then at the heart of it, it's understanding the two key elements of cooperative learning,
Okay, what are those?
the task itself and the process of working together.
Okay, so not just what they're doing, but how they're doing it.
Exactly. And while we often focus on the task, it's the process that can be really challenging, especially for students who've experienced trauma.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So Janetta Wallace, she had this great example from her chemistry class.
Okay.
Her students had gone through a lot, and just assigning group lab work wasn't enough.
They needed more support.
Yeah, they needed explicit instruction on those social and emotional communication skills.
Oh, interesting.
It highlights how important it is to build trust.
Right, that foundation of trust.
Consistency, predictability, clear structure, and caring relationships.
Yeah, all those things.
Janetta, she used specific roles in pair work, like speaker and listener,
Oh, that's a great idea.
to give them structure for their interactions.
Right.
And it's so important to use asset-based language when we talk about their efforts.
Oh, right, instead of saying, oh, they're not getting it.
Exactly. Focus on their effort, their creativity, their problem-solving skills.
Yeah, highlight those positive attributes.
And when we launch small group activities, it helps to start with relationship building,
Okay.
maybe some icebreakers or team-building exercises, and have extra support from counseling staff available for students who need it.
Good point.
And carefully think about how we group students together.
Right, not just random.
And we need to observe and interact with them during their work, try to connect their learning to their interests.
Make it relevant.
Janetta, she used a railroad track analogy in her chemistry lesson to make a concept more relatable.
Oh, that's creative.
It's about meeting them where they are.
Absolutely. Now, your sources also talk about the importance of family and guardian engagement.
Yes, crucial.
How can we approach that in a strengths-based way?
Well, Joyce Epstein's work shows that those strong family-school partnerships are essential.
Right, but it can be tough.
It can be. A lot of educators say they don't feel equipped to do it well.
Yeah, and families are so diverse.
Exactly. So there's this example of Alicia, who made a conscious shift from a deficit mindset to a strengths-based approach.
Okay, how did she do that?
It was a process. First, she had become aware of her own assumptions and biases.
Oh, right, unlearning those old patterns.
Like she had to challenge this misconception that low-income families don't value education.
Which isn't true at all.
Right, research shows they may be involved differently, but they're deeply committed to their children's learning.
It's about understanding those different ways of being involved.
Exactly. And then she started intentionally implementing strengths-based practices,
Oh, okay.
and eventually it became second nature.
So it's a journey.
It is. And the foundation is acknowledging families as valuable resources, getting to know them as individuals, and building genuine relationships.
Yeah, it's about respect.
And partnership meetings become really important for learning about students and families in a meaningful way.
More than just like the typical school events.
Right. And we need to be responsive to their needs, make sure they feel safe, like they belong, that they're competent, and that they're valued.
Wow, so much to consider.
Even the language we use in those meetings matters.
Oh, right, setting the tone.
Your sources have some suggested topics and questions for those meetings,
Oh, interesting.
focusing on understanding the students' experiences and identifying the family's values and assets.
Okay.
And frequent positive communication is key.
More than just when there's a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alicia, she made an effort to shift from mostly contacting families when there were problems
Right.
to proactively celebrating successes and acknowledging their strength.
Like sending positive notes home.
Yeah, even little things like that about attendance, homework completion, perseverance,
Those little boosts can make a big difference.
and involving families in classroom events, showcasing the curriculum, drawing on their skills and knowledge, all of that helps to build a shared culture of learning.
Yeah, like a community.
Alicia had a great example she did an Aztec art night.
Oh, that's fun.
It was so welcoming and inclusive.
I love that.
And Scud-led poster presentations can be another good way to involve families.
Yeah, show off what they're learning.
It all comes down to making families feel like valued members of the school community.
Absolutely. Now, how do we take this beyond individual classrooms and make it school-wide?
That takes everyone working together.
Mhm.
Students, families, teachers, staff, administrators. We need to create this environment where everyone feels like they belong, that they're safe, valued, and competent.
So it's a collective effort.
It is. And it needs to be rooted in affirmation, in energizing students.
Yeah, building them up.
Schools need to be clear about who students can go to for help, what resources are available. And considering that statistic we talked about, half of U.S. students experiencing trauma, this isn't just a nice thing to do, it's essential.
Yeah, it's a necessity.
And one of your sources, Cole and his colleagues, they emphasize that every school can and must support these students by partnering with families, building positive relationships, and fostering social-emotional growth.
So it's a multifaceted approach.
It is. And giving everyone a voice is so important.
Oh, right, making sure everyone feels heard.
Research shows that people are more motivated when they feel like their contributions matter, when they get specific feedback, and when they know their work is valuable.
Yeah, feeling valued is huge.
And when we give feedback, it needs to be precise and positive, reflecting those strengths and encouraging positive behaviors.
Okay, so instead of just focusing on problems in team meetings, we highlight the potential, the strengths.
Exactly. There's this great example contrasting a deficit-based team discussion, which is all about the problems,
Yeah,
with a strengths-based discussion, which is all about potential and assets.
I see the difference.
And it's about starting with those strengths, acknowledging them, reflecting them back to the student and the family.
Yeah, reaffirming them.
Chris Homiak, he talked about identifying key values in Javier's mother during a team meeting.
Oh, that's great.
And even a detail like the school providing temporary foster care for Javier's cat shows that holistic support.
Wow, going above and beyond.
Schools can also create a process of reviewing their policies and practices through a strengths-based lens,
Oh, okay, so constantly evaluating.
identifying strengths and needs, taking action, ensuring confidentiality, providing professional development.
So it's ongoing.
It has to be.
Okay. Finally, your sources also talk about partnering with community resources.
Yes, that's so important.
Why is that such a vital part of this approach?
Well, there's this tragic story of DeMonte Driver, a young boy who died from a treatable dental issue.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
It was, and it highlights the need to look beyond the school walls.
Yeah, sometimes the support students need isn't something the school can provide directly.
Exactly. And the ASCD whole child tenets, they remind us that every student deserves to be healthy, safe, engaged, supported, and challenged.
Right, the whole picture.
So Wolf Street Academy, they partnered with the University of Maryland School of Dentistry
Oh, wow.
because their students lacked access to dental care.
And that impacts their learning.
Absolutely. And there are other successful partnerships, like the Trauma Sensitive Schools Initiative in Kansas City, which
Mm.
worked with Truman Medical Center.
Hmm.
They saw a more positive school climate
Mm.
and fewer disciplinary referrals.
That's great.
And then in New York, there's this public-private partnership with the Andrews Foundation to create trauma-responsive schools using the sanctuary model.
Oh, interesting.
They have these community meetings where they ask about feelings, goals, and what kind of help people need.
Wow, so collaborative.
And to build effective partnerships, you need a dedicated team, a liaison, a clear understanding of mutual contributions, and ongoing support.
Okay, so it takes structure and planning.
It does.
Yeah.
And the partnerships need to respond to identified needs and be based on mutual interests.
Not just a one-size-fits-all approach.
Right, like there was this example of a law firm mentorship program that didn't really prioritize the student's needs.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, and sometimes you need the power of numbers to address systemic barriers.
Right, like providing dental care for undocumented families.
And involving youth and families in these partnerships makes them so much stronger.
Oh, yeah, they're the experts on their own needs.
Exactly. It gives them ownership. It helps with continuous improvement. It raises public awareness.
And they can be mentors for others.
Absolutely.
So it's about recognizing that schools are part of a larger ecosystem.
Yes. And by working with the community, we can create a much more comprehensive support system.
That's so powerful.
It all comes back to that core idea. A strengths-based approach isn't just a philosophy. It's a necessity.
Yeah, for all students, but especially those who've faced trauma, violence, or chronic stress.
And it's about recognizing and nurturing their abilities
Huh.
and the resources within their families and communities.
So to you, the listener, we leave you with this question.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about the inner wealth that's present in every student, every family you encounter.
Yep.
What's one small but significant shift you can make in your own perspective or your daily practice to unlock that potential? Maybe you'll dive deeper into Debbie Zakarian's work, check out the resources from ASCD, or look closer at those inspiring examples of school community partnerships. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks, everyone.